It was just talking about the Capone's actual trial. It said to this camp at the Lexington Hotel were summoned to witnesses who testified to the defendant Capone's losses on horse races. At that camp were summoned counsel for conferences, and from that camp, under what coercive influence we can only conjecture from what transpired in court, came the array of shocking perjury. Oops, what happened there? With which the court was confronted during the closing days of the trial. This coercive, the coercive influence conjectured what transpired in the court. When you're in that group of individuals, a long array of conclusions, coercive influence over those to whom it comes in contact with. Again, the insurrection against the laws of the United States. It is perfectly clear from a long array of conclusive circumstances that this band exercised coercive influence over those with whom it comes in contact, which is nothing less than insurrection against the laws. Now, I mentioned that insurrection and the treason and the rebellion against the laws of the United States. But let's say that you didn't want somebody to say anything about how you came to find out. You got a dog, do you, chief of police? And you thought, well, the dogs are only for those in law enforcement, those elected to office, those that are judges, Judge Landis. We would never give a dog to an individual that actually had to be the head of organized crime so he could clone himself 1,000 times and he could run shit in this. How do you find those involved in organized crime? When I was standing on a street corner, I'd seen a school bus. The 20% that doesn't pay any property taxes? Yeah. Quite often, that's who they target. Can you get me the school districts that have 20% of those that are underneath the poverty line, the 125%? Those on the school lunch programs. Yes! I thought every school bus was going to have my technology on the roof of it. Usually they set them outside, these school buses, and they drive them twice a day. They go pick them up, they take them to school, and then they take them back home. Yes. And they don't really do much. Think of the combustion engine. They're running unleaded fuel, are they? Well, sometimes your mom and dad, when you're in elementary school, they go running the streets at night selling drugs or prostituting themselves, and they don't tell you about it. But they're actually working for somebody in organized crime that if they don't get up off their ass and get fucked right now, they'll torture the shit out of them. And their thought is to protect you, the little boy or girl that happens to be their children. So they go do what they have to do to make sure that you don't feel the pain that they do. Now, could you get me the actual bus ownership, the bus garages, and the bus lots, and then the fuel that's being used in America's school system? Because a lot of mom and dads, they don't really like these that keep torturing them. They think it's mean that... Well, it's not really their pimp. They love that man. He treats them so good, doesn't he? He only keeps about 70% of what they earn. And they take the 30% home, and they make sure they have a place to live in the poor school districts of this great nation. Now, those in organized family, they live in the 20% that we don't really include in the bond issues. Yes! For some reason... You get yourself maybe 20, 30 prostitutes. You supply some drugs to maybe 30 to 50 individuals. You sew yourself in, you fuck them. Pow, 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 pow!